If you go back more than about 4 million years ago, our ancestors were basically living in the jungles of Africa, and they ate mostly plant food, mainly fruits and nuts and berries and things that were available in a jungle. But around 4 million years ago, we had a massive change in climate in the world, and the jungle areas of Africa shrank and grasslands took much of their place, and our ancestors were the primates who left the jungles and went out and become upright walking creatures called hominins, eventually becoming humans about 4 million years later. When they went out into the grasslands, there is not the same food supply as what there is in the jungle, so they had to adapt to a new food supply. And that new food supply was mainly animal food, because in grassland areas there's not many plants that we can eat. So unless you want to starve, you start eating animal foods. Initially, we were small, we had small brains, we couldn't be very good hunters, so we were scavengers. We used to find the bones of ruminant animals that had been killed by a saber-toothed tiger or something, and we would take a rock and crack the bones open and eat the marrow, and bone marrow is very rich in energy. It's got a lot of fat. We would also crack the skulls of dead animals and eat the brain tissue, and that was also full of fat and very nutritious for us. And we began our journey on carnivory in that way, though we never fully become carnivores. We are true omnivores. We still kept eating plants whenever we could find them, but eventually that scavenging of animal parts did turn into full-scale hunting. As we grew bigger, our brains grew bigger and so on. And we even believed the fact that our brains grew much bigger was due to the animal foods we're eating. They provided not only the energy to grow a bigger brain, but the molecules of fat that you need, specific types that make up our brain. And they come from animal food, not plant food. Well, the use of animal tissue in terms of scavenged and then hunted animal tissue gave us a predominantly energy-based diet of protein and fat, whereas plant food provides carbohydrate. This protein and fat was high in energy, but it's digested differently to carbohydrate material. For carbohydrates, particularly in the wild, they're mostly cellulose, and so you need a specific structure in your intestines, either called a rumen, to be a ruminant animal, or what we call a cecum, which other animals would have. And these areas of the intestine ferment cellulose to extract carbohydrate. We don't have that, and we weren't able to eat grass and leaves to extract energy. So gradually our intestines become more simple than herbivorous animals, and now they look more in appearance like a carnivore animal. We have just one simple stomach, we have a long, small intestine, we have a small, large intestine, we have no rumen, and we have no cecum. So we can't live on cellulose material like herbivorous animals. So we are very much similar to a carnivore now than to a herbivore, though we did maintain some of the biochemical and structural aspects of the intestine that allow us to still digest most plant foods that aren't cellulose, like fruits and nuts and vegetables and so on.